What is good, you guys? This is Daz the Heero, back and better than ever, and I am with my buddy
Monkey D. Michael,
and we are just here to bring you guys another expansion on the greatness that is One Piece. And when we left off with you guys last time, we were talking about the countdown to chapter 1000 really kicking off, and it's really exciting because now that we're in the war with 991, it's really kicking off. We're starting to see some of the matchups take form. We're starting to finally see certain transformations that we wanted to see for years, and like the foreshadowing that we've got from that dating back to Zoe. So just seeing some of the doper characters get their opportunities, such as INUARASHI and NEKOMAMUSHI amongst the Minks, of course, because they're the cream of the crop of Mink performance. So seeing them in this latest chapter really get to put that on display and get that revenge was very fulfilling for me as a
for sure. When I saw that, I was really excited because I was like, oh man, they're finally like really starting to do work. But then I also started to become a little bit concerned about what's going to happen to them after the Sulong movement is over, you know, because that does take quite a toll on their body, especially with their age, you know?
Yeah, we know that they're not necessarily in their prime anymore, and we also know that it's limited. So will they be able to at least hold off and keep maintain some stamina so they can take part in the fight with Kaido? Because we know the Scabbards are still kind of holding off and not wanting to get too involved. But after what happens to Jack, Kaido's like, no, forget this. I'm not just gonna let y'all take my guy out like this. And he expects them to want to run in fear for what he's gonna display, but we see that KINEMON, who is the de facto leader of the Scabbards, really, this is his shining moment of his since he's come in. Like, I have never been more proud of KINEMON after doing it. And I don't feel like anybody should be upset with defeat, because what is his moniker? Foxfire KINEMON.
I was super surprised. I was actually kind of just as almost as shocked as he was, like he said in the chapter when he was talking about that he had never thought about the fact that he could cut that fire.
Yeah, like, why didn't... Oh, and I never even thought about it. Yeah, you're Foxfire KINEMON.
Exactly.
Try to cut his fire.
So I was just... It really took me for a loop because it was something that I had never thought about in One Piece.
Yeah, and I appreciated it because... Not only did it show that he has some worth, because I think a lot of people felt like he was one of the lower or mid-tier Scabbards, but him having this unique Foxfire style ability is really going to come clutch in the fight with Kaido, as we see, like, getting it kicked off, because that was kind of his declaration of war for himself, because we hadn't really seen him use an attack, and that's the first legit named attack from him. And it also displays the vulnerabilities of the Yonko. Like, they're not just going to be able to wash everybody at any point, because there's going to be a lot of strong people just on their heels. Like, you can't cover your tail on every end all the time when you're fighting strong people. So it's gonna be like a little bit of that white-bearded and Marine forward, because like of course he's gonna win the important exchanges when it's one-on-one, but when you're getting like ganged up on by like strong people, what's it gonna come down to? So
yeah,
between that and then other matchups that we're seeing fleshed out with the rest of the Straw Hat crew, we're seeing the middle tier and quote-unquote lower tier members starting to run off and get their individual matchups. You saw a funny moment with Usopp and Nami, of course, getting into it with the brother and sister of the Toby Roppo being Pepe, as she calls him, but that's page 1, and then she uses the head. What is her?
I cannot tell you.
It's cool. But as those matchups get fleshed out, and then you're also seeing Frankie catch the eye of the number 8 of the numbers. So I think the middle tier members of the Straw Hats are going to match up with some of like the mid tier of Kaido's crew. So the numbers, the Flying Six, those are the top tier right past the commanders. And we know that Luffy's top few are going to be matching up with the commanders. So it's only right to me to see these things finally kind of catch stride and gain a little bit more momentum.
I think some of our middle tier members like Burke are actually going to have a bigger part to play in the war. I think he's going to be taking on Big Mom hardcore. I think he's going to have a lot to do with that fight.
So Soul King is really going to get an opportunity to get like maybe not a one-on-one fight per se, but he's going to get he's gonna have more support than he did when he was just in that chamber with her.
Absolutely.
So he's gonna put in even more work, because you know when you got your crew along with you to kind of cover all the holes in whatever you lack, and it's just really gonna be cool to see the combinations that the Straw Hats come. So
I mean, Brooke has always expressed like kind of nonchalantly that he knows a lot more than he tells, and he recognizes that Big Mom is kind of no threat because he is in that age of pirates when she grew up.
Yeah,
you know?
like he's calling her
about...
young lady every time he refers to her. So he doesn't have the raw brute force and overwhelming strength, but when it comes down to it, he's not gonna be shaken by her, because I feel like with him being as old as he was probably around in the Rocks Pirates era. So that like his knowledge with that, and like what he can bring to support the rest of the Straw Hats as they match up with the rest of Kaido's crew is gonna be. And that also brings us to X Drake, who we saw have exchanges with Luffy and Zoro now, because he also is wanting to now come to the other side and come to his senses, because it's now or never. He was put in a no-win situation. So seeing like him recalling like the community, like the conversation he had with Kobe in the past, and knowing Kobe's like feelings toward Luffy, and he's a Marine and Luffy's pirate, so that he naturally draws people in. And that's something you mentioned when we were talking earlier. That's like that Mihawk effect that he mentioned, that Luffy's greatest strength is bringing people to his side.
And I mean, we've seen that. I mean, he's been doing that from day one. Everywhere he goes, he always draws a crowd with him. At the end of the day, he wins people over in a way that most people would find kind of strange, because it's like they want to be with him, but he wants them with him for the moment, but then he leaves them behind with the memory of, you know, like... Yeah,
it's like he's creating allies, but he's not trying to be like some end-all be-all de facto leader of them all. He wants them to do their own thing, and that's kind of one thing he wanted Momonosuke to establish. He's like, Momonosuke, I'm not coming to Wano to be the shogun. I'm coming to take out Kaido. What do you want? Like, you gotta establish that. And seeing what Momonosuke does in the future, and I think we'll see big feats from him as we approach chapter 1000. Maybe not necessarily like power level feats, but just like character development and maturity and taking that key role. And I think that's one thing that's going to be brilliant about the lead up to this, because even though we're on recent breaks and like frequent breaks because of Oda's health, we're getting quality chapters. So as long as that is there, like in the pacing of the chapters themselves is, so as long as that is there, we like the foundational One Piece fans have nothing to fear. And that's something I know you're looking forward to, and myself. But like before we exit, is there anything that you got to leave out for the fans? The countdown continues. Be on the lookout for 992 in a couple weeks. And this has been Daz the Hero and Monkey D. Michael. You know the Lotus always blooms twice.